all divine masculine and feminine darlings. This is the Seraphim Gem Gypsy, Seraphim Indigo Empress. And Shiloh Horizon. I don't plan to be here for too long, but I do have some channels and a little reading to do. I think we'll also do some Reiki while I'm here too. I just got back from a medical appointment and I was on the yoga mat doing a project when I got a download. And this is came up I think last night too. Dirty cops or dirty officials. I won't spend too much time on this one. I do have some better things to read on, but let's check on the energy. It seems that these criminals are misjudging a target and think that somebody's doing worse than they are. I hear she's too calm. It's like they misread their target. An old friend or enemy or frenemy is upset over some old stuff that happened in the past and they want revenge. Yeah. So these are people who I hear have a bone to pick, feel disgruntled. This might just be that you walked away from them. Maybe you wouldn't let them bully. And it hurt their feelings. But that's the thing about narcissists. They were looking to boost their own emotional state by trying to knock yours down. That's why they bully people. So if someone is banking on boosting their self-esteem like a narcissist does by trying to knock yours down, meaning they were hoping to make themselves feel better by making you feel bad, and you don't let them do it, it doesn't work the way that they want, they feel offended. It makes them feel worse about themselves than they already did when they started, which is what made them want to try to knock someone else in that case, you see. So haters performing spell work to cause mechanical breakdowns on your car or family car. I'm picking up Bonnie and Clyde karma. It's like car crash karma. Hater wants to use you as a sacrifice for their own personal gain, fame, record deal, insurance, inheritance, the list goes on. They're getting sucker punched with the truth though, you see, and that's why they're mad. They feel like they've been offended by the truth, and so they're looking to seek revenge. Divine Masculine says, well, that's delusional. I agree. They're not well. They're not stable people. He says that's why they can't come with us. Also agreed, and I'm being drawn towards this crystal here. Suddenly, this is a really powerful one, actually. And if it wasn't trapped in quartz the way that it is, it would be wildly poisonous, in fact, radioactive. This is called uranium agate. It actually has uranium in it. It's made of uranium, but it's trapped in the quartz here. I'm going to turn the light on. You see. Actual poisonous uranium. But it's a very powerful transformation stone. I'm also being drawn towards, oh, it's right here. This one, I was just picking this one up. This is called cataclysite. It's also a meteorite, and it also calls for pretty huge transformation. Now, catastrophically for these karmics, it's not a bad thing for the light workers. Oops. See, I turned the light off and it immediately came back on. Didn't want to turn off. There's a message in that too. These karmic people cannot keep us down. They wanted to. They misjudged their target. They tried to turn our lights out. Now they're feeling moody and anxious and hopeless and depressed and what have you, because they wanted us to feel like that. They wanted us to take ourselves out because they feel like, that's wild, they feel like it'll make them feel better about themselves. And here's another thing I picked up before. Let's say that there is a karmic female and she's bisexual or gay in the closet. 522. Maybe that's why I picked up Pink Pony Girl this morning. I came out of a dream prophecy with it. Chapel Roan is gay, I believe. Take a spiritual bath. That's so funny, because that's my next move, is to go take another shower, and it's raining. Yeah, so it's just to cleanse them out. They're trying to throw crown chakra attacks. I'm seeing that, or they were, now they're panicking and they're sad because it's not working. Oh, there's, see their, what, their death magic, their attempts at death magic and such backfired. So sometimes, let's say you've got a karmic female who is gay or bisexual, secretly in the closet, or she's trying to convince herself that she's not, and so she's angry that she's attracted towards, it's like she's repulsed with herself for being attracted to divine feminine. This might be one of those energies that had such a crush on her, she wanted to become her. Sometimes it's where those plagiarizing doppelganger energies come from, and when they can't do that, or they've mistaken trying to become someone for having a crush on someone, they spiral. But I've seen this before, and it's not just about karmic females. However, there's somebody who's in the closet. They have a crush on somebody of the same gender as them, and whether it's because of social stigma or their upbringing or whatever belief systems they have that make them harbor some sort of shame for this, they're angry that they're attracted to this person. So they think that if they bully the person they have a crush on, or if they target the person they have a crush on, or in this particular case that I'm picking up on, if they try to take out, bully to death, or off the person, KO'd, like no longer breathing in existence, if they try to take the person they have a crush on out, let's say it's a karmic female, just for simplicity's sake, if this karmic female who has a crush on divine feminine but feels shame because she's like in the closet and doesn't like that she is attracted to divine feminine, she feels like if she takes the divine feminine out, it will remove her crush, and then she'll feel better about herself, as if she won't be attracted to another pretty lady down the line, because trying to murder the person that she has a crush on isn't going to not make her a lesbian or bisexual. It's just she needs to get a grip with her orientation and stop trying to bully people that she finds attractive. It's weird and not well behavior. And I think I'm qualified to speak on that as somebody who just got out of a medical appointment for EMDR trauma therapy to rebuild neurons that people like that cause damage to with behaviors as such. And my medical team agrees. Mind you, I just spoke very consistently and openly to my medical professionals, to my EMDR doctor, to professional psychologists and therapists, about how I'm a psychic medium, about the dreams I get, about the prophecy, all of it. I am who I am. I said, I can't, there's no fearing persecution in this office. I'm like, that's why I'm here. These people have been persecuting me. I have to call it like it is. So I told her about the prophecies and the stuff that I've picked up. Started telling her again about the dress and the Moldavite story. In fact, I won't get too deeply into that right now, but I have nothing to hide. Now, to quickly summarize that, the dress and the Moldavite story, this was when Del was alive. He had a dream and a vision about me wearing this dress that I did not own. It was a red dress. And then a week after he died, I went up to visit his mom in the same town that one of my best friends and my business partners also had one of the branches of one of these crystal shops. So here's where the Moldavite ties in. Love you, T. Look, I even made my own magnets. I made these years ago. And so I went up to this town and I was listening to the spirit guidance, and Dre said, you need to go see T. There's this crystal there. You need to go get some moldavite. And I said, okay. So the shop was closing. He was closing it down for the evening, and we were just about to go get dinner. And he said, go get this moldavite. And I said, T, do you have any moldavite here? And he said, yeah, I've got some little moldavite chips, like tiny little shards of them. Not even the size of a penny, like this. Moldavite chips. Teeny tiny. And moldavite's expensive. It's also a meteorite. And I just wasn't feeling the energy. It wasn't right. I wasn't being drawn towards it the way I knew I should have if it was a match for me. So I said, do you have any other pieces? And he said, I don't think so. I think this is it for me. I think this is all I have at this branch. But all of a sudden, from across the whole crystal shop, and mind you, it was empty. The front doors were locked. He and I were the only two people in there at this point. And this was my 50-50 business partner. He was doing the geological side of things. He was a historian, a geologist, and an entomologist. I was doing the metaphysical side and the writing. At least the metaphysical side of the writing. He would give me the specs on each of the gems to do write-ups on. They were not crystals that had been worked on before. They were main crystals. In fact, somebody says, so you were writing a new crystal Bible? Kind of. Yeah. So, anyway, somebody says, and he died before you finished? That's correct. Tiny little gem. And I said, I don't think that's the one. And this cabinet opened by itself from across the shop. Nobody else was in there. It opened all by itself, this glass cabinet. And it had a latch on it. So somebody had to unlatch the latch and then open the cabinet. You had to do it manually. And I heard something creak over my shoulder, and I said, did you hear that? And he said, yeah, the cabinet just opened by itself. He said, there's something in there for you. So we walked over there, and sure enough, there was one pendant at the very top. He had a bunch of stuff in there, but one pendant at the very top that he forgot about. And it was the biggest piece of moldavite he had in the shop. It was the most expensive piece, interestingly enough, but Delray walked over there and opened up the cabinet and said, no, Tony, you do have moldavite. Also, this is the one I want her to have. It was the only piece that was set, I still have it, on a metal plate in a pendant form instead of just a raw piece of gem. Thank you. And that's the one I ended up taking home. Now, most people are not comfortable with moldavite. They have got to slowly attune themselves a few minutes, maybe up to 15 at a time, but it was a match for me. I come from a higher frequency space, spiritually speaking, and so really I didn't take it off unless I was showering because it was metal. And what it did was block the archonic attacks from me. Thank you. In fact, the reason that I was guided to get this was because when he died, these attacks started so heavily. The one time I was sleeping on the couch, I was lucid dreaming, and I started to astral project out, and this thing tried to jump into my body, and my body started flailing, almost like I was having a seizure, because this dark spirit entity tried to jump in my body and take it over, but I was already in there, and so it tried to basically possess me. I was fighting, no, that's my body, so I kicked it out, but what got me up out of it was my body was flailing to the point where I fell out. I fell onto the floor off of where I was sleeping. I fell off of, I fell out of bed or off the couch and hit the floor. This thing was fighting me for my body. Never had a problem after Moldavite. No, I don't have that issue now, whether I wear the Moldavite or not. I do still have it and use it, but it's because I'm cognitive of it and I've tapped into myself fully. And so then the next day, because I was there for a week, I stayed with his mom for almost a week after he died, and then went back and forth between T, visiting T at the shop. Dre said, you need to go downtown. And I said, okay. And he said, you need to go into this store. And I said, okay. And it was a brand new shop, bridal shop called Blush Bridal. And it was just opening. They didn't even have their stuff on the shelves yet. They were just unpacking. For some reason, they had opened the store, but they were still putting stuff out. I know a lot of stores won't do that. They'll put everything out and then open, but it didn't matter because I walked in and was a customer anyway, so there it was. And you know what? I wouldn't have been in town if they'd waited until they were done with that, because I was in a different town. If they had waited until they were finished setting up to open, I wouldn't have been around, so they would have missed me as a customer. And Dre said, you need to go in here. Remember that dress that I told you about, that red dress? And that was all he said when he was alive. All he saw was a red dress. That's all he knew about. And there were more details to it that I haven't spoken here, and I won't right now. But anyway, I walk in and I was honest, and I said, look, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm a psychic medium, and my husband died a few days ago, and he said before he died that he got this vision of me, this awareness of me, and I was wearing a red dress. And I said, no, what I'm seeing is it's about, see, as I have my sleeves pulled up even now, it's about quarter sleeve, half sleeve, quarter sleeve maybe, and I'm seeing lace, like maybe the arms have lace on them or something, or some kind of pattern, lace cutout pattern. And it goes about to my knees, or like maybe mid-thigh level, a bit above my knees. And this woman, her jaw dropped. Because remember, they had everything in boxes still. But she walked around the corner and went into the back, and then she came out with this dress. You notice the lace sleeves? Really, it's all lace like that, but even the numerology hit on this. It's very, very specific. When the total was rung up, it was like 6 and a bunch of 2s, 6 something and a bunch of 2s. Very specific twin flame message. But she came back around the corner and said, is this what you were looking for? I said, oh yeah, that's the one. I'll take that in a size small, thanks. But he had a vision of that dress before he died and brought me to find it after he died. I didn't even know that place was there. It was brand new. And they didn't even have that dress up on shelves yet. It was still stored in a box in the back. So, hater performing spell work to make people not like you. And you talked to your doctor about that? Yes, just an hour ago. 1/19/22. I have nothing to hide. In fact, specifically the opposite. I knew that I could disprove all of these karmic people trying to call me crazy or trying to call me a fake psychic if I was just raw and real. And even my own medical team says, nope, that's legit. She's legit. Also not crazy, but these people are criminal and being abusive towards her. That's persecution, and they need to be prosecuted for it. Under the jail. So anyway, easy to disprove. especially when a neuropsychologist agrees with you. I hope that everybody's okay, guys. We'll do some Reiki in a minute. But they have been trying to do spell work to make other people not like you and literally attack you. I picked this up last night. Everywhere you go, whether you know these people or not, it's that jumping Judas Jezebel energy. That's what I call it. And so it's just that incubus, succubus, dark spirit energy. And it's like the devil, the same devil, jumps on all these different people's shoulder, and none of them listen to the angel. But once they realize that their tactics aren't working or that they're in trouble for trying, once shit hits the fan and you find out it was them, they dip, they ghost. And also, it doesn't matter what they're trying. I did tell you about the death spell energy. It's not going to work. See, this is their daily routine. Why don't you go wash your behind and find a real hobby? Because I can tell your house is dirty probably and you stink. Your hair is greasy too, I can see it. And it stinks. You know, also there's a different scent. There's body odor scent, and then there's like greasy hair smell. If you know, you know. They're two different, they're both dirty smells, but they're two different smells. Greasy hair and stinky armpit are two very distinctively different scents. But my baby girl, and also your booty crack stank. You need to go wash yourself. You're gross and I can smell it. Also, I can see the grease in your hair. Somebody's laughing at you now. I'm being serious. Somebody's getting a giggle over booty crack. The term booty crack. Well, I'm glad I could make you giggle. Giggle? That was a belly laugh I hear. Well, good. I'm glad, I'm glad I could make you belly laugh. Yeah, it's just chaos and conflict spills. Bye-bye, baby wipes. Haters recruiting more narcissistic people to start coming up against you. I also just talked to the doctor about that. And their attempted instigations. Let's see, anything else? Tell me about it was like a false attack, false arrest thing specifically that I was also picking up. Your partner, or this could be an ex sending negative energy. Yeah, like I said, sitting there trying to do spiritual work or get readings or I hear hoodoo, voodoo. No. Oh, there it is. See? Yeah. Trying to get, I hear the spiritual scoop on people sitting there in a dark, dingy room trying to do things at an altar with some spell work. And, well, you're reading on me. No, I'm reading on the fact that you just disturbed my peace. I was just over here minding my business. And honestly, I've got some other things to do I would like to be doing. But, I picked this attack up, and I'm not looking to leave people alone and unprotected. So here we are. I answered the call. Not from these karmics. These karmics weren't supposed to do that, but God called me to come call it out and stop it. So I'm listening. Somebody says thank you. You're very welcome. I hope this helps. I heard that. It can be. It's scary. It can be when you don't realize what's going on. But no, I'm not afraid of these people. They're weak. They wouldn't be doing this if they weren't. And I can't relate. So. Ooh, I heard that. There's a karmic now, very upset. Fuck! Screaming, swearing. Verbatim. Pardon my French, but that's what they said. Let's see, shall we? Feel free to pack a bowl. I'm going to do that momentarily. Also, let's make some tea. Oh, that's what I forgot. Seen those candles that are fake and plastic. They're fake. Like, I can't stand those. They don't look real anyway. I don't like the energy they emit. I get the purpose. It's nice for people to have the illusion of candles in a house that they're not comfortable burning anything in, but hold on, let me write this down before I... As far as the candles go, I mean, in real life, I get why people are doing it. As far as on the human plane, sometimes people keep toxic people like that around because they're afraid to be alone, but I promise you, it's better to get to know yourself and learn yourself and build yourself than deal with toxic people who do nothing but destroy everything around with fervent passion, destructively. Yeah, and that's not a safe home environment. So this is the spell work that they've been trying to do. And if it's not sitting there doing direct spell work, it's just the negative intent, the hateful wishes, or the motives behind what people's actions are, these toxic people. Trying to mess with people's abundance so that they don't have a safe home, possibly trying to mess with your money or ruin your career so that you can't even provide for yourself. They don't want you to be confident. This is somebody who wanted to, what did I say earlier? Bring themselves peace by disturbing yours. Bring themselves peace by trying to copy or steal from you because they lack divine grace. This is a karmic. They wanted to disturb your peace. They don't want you to be seen also in a graceful state. These are people who are jealous of your success, or they wanted to create success for themselves by messing with other people's lives or stealing from other people. This fertility card can indicate destiny swapping and energy harvesting, but look, they lack imagination. And that's why they target light workers who don't want to be with them because we see that they lack love. I hear they're also lackluster. And that's why we won't tolerate, what did I say about the dreams and the jumping Judas, Jezebel energies? That's what that is. But they won't be successful. Also, this is jealousy of beauty. These people have been jealous of the appearance of the light workers. Wow, what did I say? Failed destiny swap. Because you have psychic protection, and so did I. What did I tell you about the Moldavite and the attempts at attacking while I was 3:22 here on the clock on the East Coast? Attacking while I was sleeping. Energy harvesting in reverse. Authenticity. Yeah. See, people see that they're fake. They tried to copy somebody who was... I just had a conversation with my doctor about this. All of this. And even I mentioned the plagiarizer energy because I had to address that too. I said, it's not a character role development for me. It is who I am. And I even broke down the term seraphim and my heritage and lineage, referencing the Fae, Sarah Fae, where that all comes from. Guess what? She nodded, understandably, in agreement. For starters. I heard that. Does she have anything to say? Yes, because she agrees with me. Which means that a professional says that these karmics are crazy, and if they were actually honest and got themselves the help that they needed, if they were actually honest about situations and not trying to skew things from a twisted perspective to make themselves the victim, if they were actually honest with a real professional doctor themselves, they would also hear the same thing from those people. And I know that some of them have, because some of them do have personality disorder diagnostics, but they try to dismiss those or don't take into consideration that those things are playing directly into their behaviors and their motives and their perception, or their lack of ability to perceive the reality and the truth in a situation. Like, they're not the victims they tried to create themselves to be. Fake candles, not real light workers, and they're being seen. Look, do you know who that is? That's my lineage. That's my ancestry. That's why the Fae reference, Tuatha De Danann, that's Freya. That's what you have here on my hands. That's her name. That is my matriarch. That was me. You need to stay seated. 3022, okay? They don't call me the goddess of 10,000 names for nothing. I told you. Peace. And I picked this up this morning. I'm like, these karmics don't seem to think that, they don't understand. I'm going to try to mess you up. I will always re-regulate. I will always regenerate. I will always heal from the damage. I will always rebuild. But now you can't hide the fact that you're destructive like you did in the beginning, like you tried to in the beginning. So you can't blame the destruction you're causing on the healer who keeps rebuilding from the damage you did, who left the rubble, the pile of rubble that you created in the first place, and then went off and built a brand new garden, only for you to follow them there and try to destroy that too. People watched you do it while you claimed that you had never done it at all and you would never do it in the first place, but then you did again. Just as the Lightworker warned that you were doing, now people see that they should have listened and we were right. 3122. No, you seem to be a little triggered because you're a jerk and you require me to speak out on it. Freya, that's strength. But guess what? Like I said, I can always take a breath and recalibrate back into myself. But you can't. You pull the warrior out of the goddess. Mind you, Freya is a warrior goddess. Hello. Because you're a tyrant and a monster. I can heal back out of and take the armor off from being in warrior mode, but you will still be a monster. There's no way to strip that off of yourself, Karmic, because that's who you are from the inside out. Now people can see it on the outside too. Can't relate. See, what they did was the opposite. They tried to shroud us in toxicity, throw mud at us, bury us in their energy projections, and then claim that that's who we are. You see, on the inside, who they were trying to pretend like we were is who they really are. But our light shone through the illusions and the character assassination attempts. Here, let's pause and smoke this for a second. That'll help. Karmic is being rude. It sounds like you need another therapy appointment. No, actually what I need is a little break from you. At least. It takes a couple of days for that machine to do its work. Starts immediately, but takes a few days to process. So no, what you need is to back off. So people are seeing, right? You've got a light worker, and this karmic threw a bunch of projections of darkness, or basically they try to demonize the light worker, but people can see the light shining through. And it doesn't match the narrative on the outside that these karmics were trying to present. But on the flip side, they were trying to cloak themselves in our energy. And people see now that they are not that. They're not who they pretended to be. But I'm who I claim to be. I know I can speak for myself on that. And I know that I'm not the only person. Who can say the same? Also, the doctor was just floored, like floored, when I also relayed the bit about the plagiarizing thieves wanting to take the stolen content and then publish it on Amazon for more people to pay for it. No, you can't do that, was the consensus between these professionals and I. And that's just the doctor. The lawyers agree too, because I've already had chats with them. But see, we're all on the same page. The only people who aren't are the karmics. Cheers. Letting go. They have to let go. They have to let us go. We're moving on. Wow, I just split the deck. We're moving on. And it's the best decision because this is how we heal. I just had chats with my doctor about this. You can't heal in the same environments that are making you sick or hurting you in the first place. I mean, like, you can try, right? Like, imagine, I'm getting a vision. Imagine somebody's on a battlefield and they get injured and they need stitches. It's important to stitch them up, right? You need to stitch them up, otherwise they're going to bleed out. But that doesn't stop any further attacks or injury from happening. And if you keep them in that toxic and often dirty environment, it's going to prolong or even worsen their healing and maybe even create new complications around it. Like, imagine somebody gets a surgery and stitches, but then they're not in a good, safe, clean environment, so then they get an infection or it spreads or something like that. You know what I mean? You have to still try, because if you don't stitch that person up, then it's going to be worse off for them and they might not make it out at all. But it would be better to just remove that person from that environment in order for them to have the proper resources that they need to get the help that they need, but also the safe and more healing conducive environment, which will help speed up that process and help them maintain it without injury or further complication. Thank you very much. Welcome to my TED Talk. Congratulations for making it almost to the end. We'll see how long this takes. I will be here until the channel closes, but I would like to go take some time for me. Cheers. Seraphim Reiki coming through. There's also elevation Reiki coming through, and there's the glamour. I told you they tried to cloak themselves. Picking up something about crown chakra attacks, which also came out in a message last night towards Divine Masculine, who feels this friendly connection with Divine Feminine. Like, I hear best friend. He feels like she is or will be or could be his best friend, or they have been or they are, from previous incarnations. But this is more than that. It's also love. It seems like a power couple to me. They're smart. They both know this too, but they feel it. And also, I mentioned this in the medical office today. It's like these karmic people trying to poison the well. Poison's not good for you. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid at your little poison party, sir. Ma'am. Divine guidance. Yeah, and God ratted you out. Aqua Divana. Bailey Sarian. If you know, you know. Yeah, they don't want to let people go. Because they don't know where else they'll get who are they going to copy? If they can't try to steal from someone so strong and creative, right? People don't trust them. They don't know who. They want people to look at them in your light, right? In our light, because they feel like people admire us or people trust us. I hear people come to you for wisdom and advice. I feel like that's towards me, maybe not just, but no, I feel like it's not just towards me. But yeah. I had a client ask me years ago, who do you go to for advice when you're the one everybody goes to? Who do you go to when you need something? I go to therapy. Is now typically my answer to that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't ever let people shame you for getting therapy, because usually the people trying to shame you for getting therapy are the ones who need therapy, right? And probably wouldn't be going around trying to shame people or bullying people into needing therapy if they were getting the help that they needed themselves. A lot of us end up in therapy for some extra support and help in dealing with the people in our lives who refuse to go to therapy, who don't want to get help for themselves but also don't want to leave our lives. Hands off. It's that karmic male energy again. Okay, I'm not shaming people with ADHD or any kind of issue like this, because I don't feel like it's just that situation, and I feel like this is more than that, and I hear it is. It's not the ADHD that's the issue. This abusive person is blaming their lack of boundaries to other people on ADHD, but this is the energy that they're giving. This is not a child. This is an over 30-plus-year-old man. This is somebody who's about 35 years old, okay? He's abusive to women. He's abusive to children, and he's not a child. But the way that he comes through, like a tantruming narcissist, right, very immature, is imagine you've got a young boy in school, and there are students at each of their desks, and the teacher has set up 4 desks in one little square section, and so there's one student here, one here, one here, and one here, and then scattered across the room there are tables set up just like that, just little stacks of tables, and there are little clusters of them, and so a few students here, a few students here, a few students here. And then if you remember in school, often way back, I don't know if they still do this, but when they have tests, right, they will just put dividers up, or they'll tell students to put their little folders or a book up to give themselves privacy from their other fellow classmates' test results and work. Right. So there's a boy, let's say he's right here, and he keeps throwing stuff at the student over here, and he keeps grabbing at the student over here, and he keeps kicking the student over here, and he keeps turning around, and he won't leave this student alone. He's just bothering everybody. He can't keep his hands to himself, and the teacher's sitting here at the front desk looking at all the students facing forward and says, if you can't keep your hands to yourself, or remember to keep your hands to yourself, you need to sit on your hands or put them in your pocket so you're aware that they're safely put away and you're not tempted to use them against other people. Except this is not a child, and it's not this, I'm not taking a knock at people with ADHD, because what I'm being told, let's get some cards on this, is it's more than that. It's not like he's got a lack of focus. It's that he has a sheer lack of boundaries and desire, and there's something different. It's not ADHD. But I am picking up that this is somebody who claims that they have ADHD, and maybe they do, but there's also something else going on, and they're blaming their abusive tendencies towards others. And reminder, this is not a child we're talking about. So if a young child did have issues with those types of things, it would be a bit more acceptable, understandable. Of course, you need to get them the help that they need, but or support or whatever that they need. Tools, give them the tools that they need for success. But this isn't that. That was the visual I got. But it's deeper than that. So let's look. This isn't for everybody. There's a specific energy, and he keeps like grabbing at Divine Feminine. Tell me about this. I hear impulsive, insubordination, rebellion, aggression, cannot deal with the hierarchy, pushed aside or dismissed from positions of command, confronting orders from up above. This could be towards God or just superiors in general. Perversity. Yeah, see, this isn't just like ADHD, and again, we're not talking about a child. This is a grown person who's actually, I believe, I think he's 33 years old. Or 30, maybe he just turned 34. Or he's about, no? He's about to. That came out yesterday. April 23rd is on this card, but there's That's like the week of this person's birthday. All right. So that makes sense. I hear duplicitous. Yep. Yep. Crown chakra just cleared out too. There's halo Reiki coming through. Seraphim came out as well, but this is specifically an extra crown chakra boost. I mean, it really hits above the crown, but it does open up the crown also. Perversity, multiple desires, lack of moral strength. And that's it. It's not about a lack of focus or even hyperactivity or anything like that. It's a lack of morals and empathy. And people can have ADHD but also have morals and empathy, or ADD and have, you know, it's not this. There's something more going on with this person, and they're blaming it on ADHD, which I frankly think is quite offensive and stigmatic towards people with that. This is like the abuser. I've seen this too. In fact, this is the same person. This is the same person who tries to blame the fact that he is abusive on the fact that he is a drug and alcohol addict. But he's been abusive to me, whether he's sober or not. The difference is, like somebody who's trying to do a sobriety test for a cop, if this is an able-bodied person who can walk when they're sober, they can still walk when they're drunk, just probably not in a straight line, or under the influence, but probably not as well in a straight line. Same thing with a narcissist. They're nasty regardless. It's just that when they're drunk, because they're already inebriated, like they can't walk in a straight line as well, they also forget to hold the mask up as long as effectively, or it slips because they're sloppy, like a stumbling drunk. So no, I told you there's more to it than this. So apparently he's blaming it not just on the addictions, but ADD or ADHD. No, I feel like that's insulting to people who have that. I hear it is, right. So here I go to clear the stigma on that. That's not the same thing. Can there be comorbid crossovers? Meaning mixed diagnostics? Absolutely. But you can't. This is not a case where those things can be blamed on these other things. He's abusive because he's a narcissistic sociopath. Not because he's an addict. He's also an addict, but he's also a narcissistic sociopath. He's not abusive and doesn't know how to keep his hands to himself as a almost 35-year-old so-called man who likes to throw women across the floor and abuse and hold children hostage. Be sexual deviant to both of them. He's not that because he has ADHD. He's that because he's a narcissistic sociopath. Diagnosed in 2014 by Eleanor Pankow in Bar Harbor, Maine. Okay? We're not playing that game. Pie face. Stay seated. Here, I play the game well, you let the game play you. Yeah, people think because I don't like to play the game that I don't know how to play it, or I'm oblivious to it. No. Empress, ma'am, sir. In the game of chess, the queen protects the king. The queen makes moves the kings cannot, in fact. I know how to play the game. I don't like game playing. I don't like head games. I don't like psyop. I think you're abusive and monstrous, and I prefer transparency and honest, genuine connections. You know not the first thing about that, but it's why you couldn't touch me. Yeah. So this is a person who is contemptuous in their behaviors and actions, but this is also a person who is about to end up in contempt of court. At minimum. Dropout, abandonment, quest for the useless. Yeah, and they'd spent all those years trying to drive innocent people into the ground. They spent all those years trying to force things to go in the way that they wanted, and now not only do they have to forfeit those things and give them back, now they're in trouble for trying, and they're further indebted. Now they owe out damages to victims too. Reparations, restitution, even to the court for wasting time and daylight and years of people's lives that they can't get back. You know, we'll heal. You can't unrape or traumatize people, but we'll heal. We have to do the work, but you're going to pay for having the requirement of it. for creating the requirement of it. You can't give them those years that you stole back or the sleepless nights. We'll recover, but you're going to pay for it legally, financially, and with your life under the prison. I was going to say jail, but no, jail and prison are two separate things. Jail is small time crime, comparatively speaking. If you get a sentence that's under 365 days, you go to jail. If it's not, if it's a worse crime or it's more time, or maybe if the jails are full, I suppose, no, you go to big boy, big girl prison. It's different. Ask JD DeLay. I'm sure he'll be able to explain that for you better than I. Conflict. Karmic was just really upset about that one. Oh yeah? Did that hurt your feelings? Boo. You scared now? Ghost whisperer. Contempt, worldly pleasures. September 3rd. Conflict, betrayal inscribed in one's genetic code in the unconsciousness. So here's that. This is in regards to some of these people who've just followed us through the lives to continue to torment because they didn't feel like they were done when they got stopped in other lives. They still had a bone to pick, so they chased us through the lives to try to start it back up again. I hear the wildfires they were trying to create in another life were put out, so they followed us into this one to try to start them again. And then blame us for it. Dropped a match in our lives, grenade, and then tried to walk away saying it was our fault. And they do think that. Well, if you hadn't made me mad. No, if you had some freaking self-control. Victim blaming is abuse. So trying to deny that you're abusive by victim blaming is not helping your case. It never did. How embarrassing for you that you even tried or thought that that was a good idea. Let alone thought that you would get away with it and that it would, it would work. Delusional. Alrighty. So as far as the light workers go, there's love that heals everything. Clear understanding. Renown, happiness, fortune. Embellishment, natural beauty, mirror of the soul. Art of expression in society. Celebrity through talent and achievement, artist. Sublimation, I mentioned that, the transformation. Also science and mixtures of exchanges. They don't like this truth. Oh, okay, hold. No, the power of free will not set you free, and trying to send attacks at all, let alone in the form of protection because you feel threatened by people standing up against your oppression tactics, that's your delusion, and that's only getting you worse karma. Why do you think I was just warned about it? Because you're not protecting yourself, you're sending out another attack. Thank you. Who warned you? The holy angels, because you're being demonic. 5322. You dirty little rats. Leave my collective and I alone. Although that one seemed to be directed towards me. Just a heads up, though. Because if they're trying to take down somebody who all these people come to for advice and guidance, what are they trying to do? Affect the rest. It's a spill down and a ripple effect. It's the same reason they don't want twins coming together, because they're afraid of the power that the babies that they create will have on the world. Or even the children that are already in existence, like say Divine Feminine and her children who've been isolated and traumatized and what have you, they are afraid that if and when a Divine Masculine steps in the picture and there's greater level of healing for not just Divine Feminine but the children as well, also Divine Masculine, that any of the damage that they were able to do to pre-existing kids is going to be undone, and will be able to balance the scales in harmony and serenity, and they will lose it. The devil's freaking out right now. So no, I'm not gonna let the devil in, no never. I'm not gonna let the devil in, no never. If you're feeling worried, that's the devil at work. Swear to God, I'ma put him in the dirt. Universal history, change, mutation, metamorphosis, transfiguration, transfer, culinary arts, painting, music, capacity to detect, I'm picking up dance to detect origin and genesis. It's just creativity in general. Visionary, able to read signs, abstract truth transformed into concrete truth. Study of high science, joy, liking solitude. Perception of unity, success in human relationships, initiator of projects and enterprises dedicated in the service of the divine. So this could even just be within the creative projects. As I mentioned earlier, the way I free flow, it's divine channel. And so something about a musician I'm picking up too. There are musicians who use their voice, their platform, their gifts to honor, to bring up the divine. And that's also where they get these from. It's why the divine will continue to channel through them and help them grow. Myself included. Mastery of emotions, sense of organization and altruism. You're just getting better. Yep, just getting started, really. Administrator, coordinator, planner. There it is. Building, merchant, banker, businessman at the service of the divine. Visionary, industrialist, manufacturer, logical, practical intelligence, ease of communication, global vision of events, citizen of the universe. Something about these salty karmics, like you don't have to fit in with them. Those are not our people, and that's fine. Let them be salty. It's their personal pickle. You know, they could go walk it out and work it out with God, but they don't. They're too busy trying to be oppositional to the divine. To have any sense of connection or blessing. For starters, you see? Here we go. Cheers. There's a bit more Reiki coming through. I also see another deck, so just a second. I want this one. All my other cups are clean. But I want this one. There's a karmic freaking out right now, like big time. Yeah, he says, it's a karmic male. He says, I don't understand how you're doing so well. I threw everything I had at you. I even did some things you don't know about, or he thinks that aren't known about anyway. How did you survive all of that? Oh, so you were trying to kill people. Well, didn't that reading just say that? Precisely. Yeah, I felt that right in the third eye. They didn't want people to see. How did you know? How did you? Yeah. So they tried to blind people's, also block and blind people's third eye and chakra and crown, so that they didn't know what was going on. So they didn't know who the right people were to trust. So they trusted the wrong people, didn't go towards the right ones. But also because the right ones would have, one, helped them see very clearly who was wrong, and then also just by presence alone, just by being in each other's company, being on the same frequency, or being with good people who are in your actual vibe tribe, not the copycats, not the glamour spell cloaking, try to pretend to fit in. No, not the narcissistic mirroring. We're not talking about that. No, they didn't want light workers to know who their people were or trust them enough to open up to them, because then these people would lose their control over your mind, over your emotions, and then over your perception of a situation, and therefore their ability to influence your decisions and have any control over your life or your choices and your say, and also more specifically how it affects them, because really that's what it's all about. 6222. Welcome to my creep show. Welcome to my creep show. Okay. So will you tell me, where do you want my light workers to focus? Manifestation coach. Well, that would be me. Master manifester here. Graphology, rather. If this isn't about handwriting, analysis, this is something about writing affirmations. I picked up a download about that last night. Or journaling. Peacemaker, being called to explore, using your skills of diplomacy, ideals of fairness and compassion to find fair solutions. And for some people, be mindful of this for two reasons. Pendulum. Some people are not actually picking up answers from a pendulum. It's they're moving their hand, even just on a micro level, subconsciously kicking the pendulum into the direction that they want it to have the answer of, and so they're trying to influence it even subconsciously. That's not for everybody. Also, you need to be mindful that you're not asking. More specifically, you need to be mindful of who you're asking for guidance, and also making sure that that's also really who's coming through. I don't use these. I mean, I have a couple, I think, here somewhere, but I don't use them. Don't need to. Good. But this is also why I don't need that, because I tap straight into the Akashic, so I don't need to ask a pendulum for yes or no questions. I go a lot deeper than that. Spiritual house cleaner. That's also what I've been working on here. Feng shuiing, getting things balanced out. I call it feng shui freaking. 6522. There's that. So there's travel also coming up. You may be getting downloads or messages about, I mentioned that today, the Celtic reference. Sarah Faye for me. Yeah, angel reading. Sarah Faye, told you. Sarah Faye, seraphim. And then my lineage goes back to the Celtic ties. Specifically, the Tuatha. That's my bloodline. That's my lineage. I'm not making it up. This is my royal crest. This is my family's royal crest. My bloodline. The crest is between, it's almost like an Aphrodite shell here. And then you've got wings, 2 wings that unfurl like angel wings here. Also the warrior energy with the crown, another Aphrodite shell and the wings. And in the paw, thank you. In the paws of one of these, there is a demi-lion holding a battle axe at the helm. And then on either side, there are purple falcon that also reference gold. They've got gold on them. And so the purple goes into Archangel, you're very welcome. And I'm glad that they do. For me, resonates with Zadkiel, okay, Gemini, angel, purple. But Freya also ties into not only the falcon, there's references of Freya with falcon energy, falcon being bird, air sign energy also, and also battle axe. She was a warrior goddess, mother, lover, nurturer, loved animals, so she embodies like Artemis, Isis, Aphrodite, but also she's a warrior, battle. I mean, Aphrodite was originally paired with the god of war, for goodness sake. Unfortunately for her, she knew that was not the answer for her, so she got out of there. But there's a famous photo of Venus and Aries, and he's sleeping on the couch, on this like long couch area. I think that's probably good now. And she's sitting there awake, and she's got like 6 of their kids climbing all over her, and he's out cold. He's just letting her deal with everything herself, all the responsibility. I mean, like, it's like this karmic male energy. Currently, modern day, it's what they are like. I saw and posted something hilarious the other day, and it said, nobody fights for custody, for 50-50 custody, harder than a guy who wouldn't even give you 15 minutes to watch the kids so you could take a shower. Yep. Yeah, that kind of a thing. Yeah, or who wants to fully take them from Divine Feminine to punish her for leaving him, even though he wanted nothing to do with the children when he had the chance to, but he thinks that that's his way to start dominating her life once she leaves and try to from the public outside looking in, justify his excuse for doing so while he pretends to care, or like he ever did, even though evidence and history reflects that, including, in some cases, their previous domestic abuse convictions against her. So there's that. But as far as the inside of this goes, let's go to the first page, and she's the matriarch. Yeah, there's a karmic who's mad. I thought she was just making this up. No, 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 no. 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 You thought wrong. I hear that. So you're tied in with the greats? Yeah, Alfred the Great. Edward the Great, I think, too. I just heard that. Alexis the Great. You're funny. But here we go. Freya and Odin. Don't play with me. You really are her. I am who I claim to be. And only that. Which is precisely what I just got done telling my doctor. Shamelessly. Let's do some more chakra work. Shall we? I can help with that. This one I have qualms about. I've heard great things about it. I've heard people love it, that love it, but I don't really like the thought of that very much, personally. I'm not interested. Having needles stuck inside of me, I'm good. Automatic writing. I do that, though. Human design expert. So this is the part that these karmics don't like, where I can see how and where people are out of alignment, or certain behaviors and things are out of alignment, and maybe where people should shift and readjust a little bit to improve their lives and get back on track. But they get really mad at that as I just sit here calmly. You know, I love to wear my black. Virgo. And mind my business. While I cast spells. Now, as far as this goes, charm casting could be, and typically speaking, the crystal cards will come out with this, but it could be the use of this. This is also, interestingly enough, I'm picking up. Let's do that. If you want to go get a cup of water or juice or something, please do that now. I will charge it with Reiki and you can drink it. I'm picking up, it's kind of like that too, but also even the nails, the way that I get the little downloads on the artwork and stuff like that, which I don't even often get until after I'm done doing it. I just get visions of designs in my head. I put them on my nails, and then by the time I'm done looking at them, I often start noticing like a story developing, and then I pick up the downloads from it. 7222, which really I do with anything. Like I said, I can read the hair on the side of the shower wall. I'm not joking. It's not a joke. I really do that. Also, like being able to read clouds, which I also do. Somebody says, what? No, you know how when you wash your hair, a few pieces here and there will come out, and instead of letting it fall down the drain, you like stick it up to the side of the tub so it doesn't all get stuck in the drain. Well, if you know, you know. If you don't, well, then that's you. Maybe you've got short hair. But for those of us who know, yeah, I heard that. One of my girls here says, I know what you're talking about exactly. Well, when it done sliding down the wall and it forms whatever shape it forms, often I'll notice messages. Somebody says, I've never tried that before. I didn't try. I just noticed one day and didn't stop. It's a gift. That one was a little weird, but hey, I'm not complaining. Works, doesn't it? When they had me falsely arrested twice for whistleblowing, not until the last day, had me in there for 3 days one time, because I couldn't get in front of a judge sooner than that. And all of which the charges were dropped, mind you. Like I said, forensic eval. But they offered me the very last day. It was only a few hours out, really, before I was in front of a judge anyway. But they offered me a Bible and also had a deck of playing cards, which I also can read both of those. I did not take the cards. I did take the Bible, but I do know how to read the cards. I didn't need them. So there's the feng shui card again. There also may be an emphasis on like home design for some people. The creativity could have to do with the feng shui, because I'm also very good at that interior design. In fact, the house next door that was built, in fact, a number of the design aspects were taken from me. Not taken in a bad way. They were confused and didn't know which direction to go, so I offered some input and they took it. But I'm quite good at that too. Exploring or hosting spiritual events, retreats to promote clarity and complete renewal. I also do these, and we'll be working on these more in the future. Yes, workshops and things like that in person possibly, but which I used to do. But also definitely expansion online. Channeling, exactly. It's what I do here. It's like modern day Marie Laveau. Who did public healing ceremonies and mediumship. Yeah, there it is. In fact, I just got done talking about this to my doctor. I went like a 5-hour straight drive, almost a 10-hour round trip to see a neuropsychologist. And sat with this doctor for 8 or 9 hours, sat with the staff for 8 or 9 hours and did all kinds of testing. And I knew I could prove these karmic criminals wrong and also back up what I was saying. And I said, look, these people are trying to call me crazy for being a psychic medium. I don't have anything to hide. This is who I am. This is what I do. Like, if I'm crazy, sure, tell me so I can fix it. But I'm not being abused. I'm not crazy. They're trying to drive me up the freaking wall. But I'm not crazy. Your driver batty. Well, they tried. Nuisances. But tell me what's up, doc. And she said, no, you're not crazy, just severely abused. And also the fact that they tried to say that I was crazy for believing in mediumship, she found pretty atrocious, because she also understands, and I didn't know this until she told me, but she believes in shamanism. This is a licensed doctor. Don't you dare tell me that people can't believe in both. Neuropsychologist is the very top. You can't get a more qualified psych professional than a neuropsychologist. That's why when you need the depth of testing, you go to a neuropsychologist, which has the top ranking, its top qualifications of all of between like a licensed clinical therapist or a psychologist, or no, neuropsychologists are at the very top. It's also why the testing was like 9, almost 9 hours long and in depth. I mean, I drove all the way there and stayed overnight in a hotel to do it, and then drove back. And they have still tried to slander me as if I can't prove it with records and from qualified professionals. Yeah, crystal healing. I did also talk about that a bit in the doctor's office. Talked about Larimar a little bit, which I do have actually right here. Astrology. I mentioned that Gemini energy earlier too. And then past, present, future energies. It's the Akashic energy. I mentioned the astral traveling too in the dreams. You're being called to communicate with spirits, entities, and guides in the astral realms to achieve and retrieve messages. What did I say as I just made a cup of tea? Tea reading, like also the hair on the side of the shower wall or a cloud in the sky. Or can read anything. I also mentioned the difference between the Moldavite chip and the pendant, which I think is in my bedroom. Let's see. I'm drawn towards this for some reason. There is abundance Reiki coming through. Metamorphosis Reiki coming through as well. House. These people are getting a message of concern that they are possibly losing a house, especially if they took it under false pretenses or bought it under false pretenses, like with a stolen inheritance or something. Because they've done things like that in some cases. Concern. Or they're getting messages of concern that their household is being upturned. Like, let's say you had people holding hostages. They're concerned that that's being resolved. They're also upset because people are concerned that they caused... Look, people are concerned that these people cause messages of concern or disturbed situations in the home life or around the home arena, finances, money, family, children, even career, in supporting all of those things of Divine Feminine. Possibly an ex of hers who tried to dodge criminal accountability. Possibly people who were jealous and trying to keep the lovers apart by creating false, frivolous litigation situations in court, which actually, look, either made people sick, like Munchausen by proxy, that they then tried to smear as mental illness, which is their mental illness. Look at what they're doing to people. Or they tried to falsely accuse people of being sick, or both, right? They hurt people and then tried to minimize that, but then they tried to falsely accuse people of being crazy or smear campaign the injuries they were causing as a mental illness in the victim. Yeah, because they did not want to have to take accountability for it, because they thought that they'd get money for it, and they did. Some of these people either stole money to get money, or some of these people, I mean, really it was both. Some of these people hurt others and literally crippled them, and then started stealing their disability incomes. True story, bronies, no dragons. They got paid to hurt people. Government checks. They filed government fraud to get paid for hurting people, and then have been continuing to hurt them to keep them hurt, to keep them injured. Why? Because that means that person can continue to get a government stipend every month for the victims that they're injuring and then keeping injured to steal from them. That's like slavery, dude. That's barbaric. That's like entrapment, imprisonment. It's embezzlement also. This is federal fraud. Oh, God's gonna cut you down. You can go on for a long... I heard that earlier. In, oh, 420. Let's pause and smoke for a second. Pack a bowl. Hold on. Water, too. I need the rain. Hold on. I need to get outside. Love you now. Much better. So earlier, I heard a karmic say, well, I've gotten away with it for a while. I got away with it before. Rather, I think it was the second one. I got away with it before. Hurt people hurt people. Yeah, and jealousy is a disease. I'd say get well soon, bitch, but I know they won't. Like, I'd say good luck if I knew they had any, but I know they don't, so I won't give them false hope. I will say good riddance. Toodaloo. Sayonara, sucker. See, you wouldn't want to be a... Bye! 8722, but that was a personal choice. You see, I'm so glad I don't premeditate anything like that precisely. Yeah, that was a personal choice. That's why it's their personal pickle, not our issue. I'm jealous that you have a better life than me because you didn't make fucked up choices to hurt people like I did. I'm like, all right, that's your issue. Deal with it. Maybe don't do that next time. If you have the chance for a next time, which a lot of them don't. But anyway, back to the main point. I got away with it before. And I ignored it. I wasn't even going to bring attention to it or bring it up. But now that I'm hearing this song, they do not like this truth. 422. Also, this karmic male is jealous of... I just heard him say something about Del Rey. But if it's not Del Rey in particular, it's just this divine masculine 8822 energy. And he says, like, he'll never compete with or compare to the divine masculine. And yeah, thank you. He knows... He knows that. He knows he can never compete with him. He'll never be him. Like, it's jealousy. It's this jealousy. But then I heard, you can go on for a long time. Go on for a long time. Or you can run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down, right? So, you can tell that long neck rider, like river, the gambler, the backbiter. Sooner or later, God will cut you down. This tea's way too hot to drink right now, I think. So they're going to be taken out. But also remember, they tried to take people out for money too. That's going to cost them. And any dirty officials that they worked with to do this. To put other people in poverty. I just saw a will or an inheritance or something. There's something about money being transferred, or I heard swept under the rug, hidden. They try to either take it out in small increments. They force, what is it? They filed, it's like check fraud. It's like they're saying that somebody is, I just heard maybe disabled, but doesn't have to be, I guess. But like stays in the house all the time. They're disabled, or they stay in the house all the time, or they asked me to come cash this check for them, except for it's like somebody has a, all right, let's say someone's grandmother died, just for simplicity's sake. Somebody's grandmother died. The grandmother left inheritance to the family, except for there's a divine feminine somewhere over here, and she did not get her share. No, they've been hoarding it and keeping it over here for themselves, writing themselves checks out of an account that's supposed to be hers, divine feminine's, but she doesn't even have it or access to it or know about it. And they're just writing themselves checks, writing her name, writing divine feminine's name on the check, as if divine feminine's writing them a check to take money out of divine feminine's account, but divine feminine was not even given her own money or her account to have access to. They've held her account hostage, and they're writing themselves checks as if they are her out of her account that they never gave to her. So they're trying to make it look like she's giving them money or permission to take money out of her account, but they never gave her the account information or the money. That's one. Another one is somebody has an like ally or friend or something in the bank. This could be the temp agency, and that's how they did that. The temp job that came out the other day. Extortion, embezzlement. Yeah, I just heard execution. They're in trouble for that one. Or that'll be their fate for trying to target a divine feminine and tarnish her reputation so that they could hold a child hostage, hold children hostage. Yeah, because they didn't want to do the hard work. It was a karmic couple doing this, or they wanted to tear apart true love for money. They thought it was an alternate route for them, as long as they worked with a toxic community to do it. I'm telling you, it was a group effort. Wow, dude. No way. Look, the child has a hula hoop. I've never noticed that before. My mother taught me all these tricks. My Aspen darling said, if you know, you know. She's so cute. Ah, see. Yeah. So there's a divine masculine, divine feminine. She knows this. Divine feminine knows that there is a mature divine masculine here who knows what's going on. He's very worldly. Look at this. She's possibly at her house, right? And that's what they said. Oh, she's just all by herself all the time. She doesn't even leave the house. And that's probably what they said about her when they never told her what time and date to show up to collect her money. They claimed she was just too irresponsible to collect it herself, when they never even informed her of it. Or oh, she's just so depressed or anxious, or she's disabled, she just never leaves the house, and so I'm here to collect it for her. Except they didn't. They lied so that they could steal it and keep it from her. Expectation. All the E words. So she's sitting at home. She knows there's blessings there are blessings coming, money, opportunities. She knows there's divine masculine coming. And like, he's looking square at these people. He knows these karmics. He knows what they did. She's trying to ignore them. He's looking straight at them saying, I know what you did to her. This is hilarious. And these thieves have been fully exposed. They can't do it. They can't get away with it anymore. And it's like that couple in the front, right? Except for now, look, either you've got two energies in this. Sometimes I see this as this kid is stealing this dude's pocket watch. Okay, so now the child that they thought that they were going to get to ransom of Red Chief ally with them, or whatever the case may be, is actually taking back what they took from other people. Or maybe these people convinced him to take from his mother, help them take from his parents, right? Tricking ransom of Red Chief into thinking whatever the case may be. And so now Red Chief's snatching back everything that was taken to bring it back home. But also, on the flip side, this looks like At first, from a distance, it kind of looks like this child is chained to this man, doesn't it? If you didn't know any better. Like almost handcuffed to the side so they can't get away. Yeah. On a leash. Didn't I tell you not to go out, didn't I? But the thieves have been exposed, and so they don't get a great fortune. In fact, they're quite in debt. And this might be how God wants them to repay it. God says, look, I will replace any money that these people took. Also, a lot of these karmics don't have the money to replace what they did in damages or took what they took. And God says they never will. And even if they did get that money, guess what? They'd probably try to still hide it and keep it from you instead of paying that bill. So God says, let me just repay you and then some for what they did and remove them. That's their karma. Even if they had the money to pay you, they would try not to. They would, no, we're not even giving them the chance. Ooh, look what's on the bottom. They don't have it. They just don't deserve oxygen. They're doing nothing for this earth. They're not contributing anything, not on the world, not anywhere else, not spiritually speaking. They're doing nothing but being vampires and harvesting from people and hurting people and targeting light workers and trying to mess up their destinies, their life purposes, and their pathway. And like another thing is, a lot of the light workers, like maybe in some cases there were lessons to learn, like certain boundaries and things like that that needed to be learned, but after a while we learned them, and a lot of these cycles ended. These karmics were told to stop and they didn't, right? Cycles ended. We moved through dark nights of the soul, and then they turned around to create more of them. And I'm not talking about like the cycles of karma that come around where you learn that, no, we already got to the end of that, and then they tried to put us through the exact same shit again. Exactly. Even though we already knew what we know, even though we already knew that those things weren't okay, even though we already knew that we didn't deserve those things, even though we already knew, what they were trying to do was break us out of that, break our faith, break our self-belief, break our confidence, break our will to stand against that. And in some cases, that's when they create like dissociative trauma, and they try to make people lose their sense of self in that trauma. Okay? Why? Because then those tactics work. And so what has had to happen is people have had to come back out of that and back into themselves. But you see, the levels that we have, a lot of us been shifting back into, we were already there. We already knew these things. It wasn't a matter of, oh, there's a karmic lesson. Yeah, it had been cleared. There wasn't anything else we needed to learn in that. They just didn't want to let it go. So they got worse karma for that, and we get actually extra blessings on the other side of it. They were not supposed to do that. I hear unnecessary. It was abusive. Look, spiritual hater. Precisely, they were demons. Now they're stuck in their head. Oh, this is a tea, spilling the tea, by the way. Tea deck. Drama starter. Yep. And actually, one of the next videos that's going up, one of the dance videos I have ready to go out, if not on the 23rd, I think, then maybe the 1st. I forget which one is which. There's a reference of that in there. Drama starter. I think it's the one on the 23rd, possibly. 2 days, maybe. Specifically talks about that. And a karmic being drama, creating drama, but then accusing the light worker, an innocent light worker in the situation, of being the drama or creating the drama. But that was narcissistic projection. Yeah, they can't stop stalking because they're obsessed. Yeah, this is somebody who's been chasing Because they want to know what's going on with you. They don't want to let you go. I hear, why don't you want to deal with me anymore? You don't even like you. You don't want to deal with you. But you wonder why we don't? I'm not confused. You need to get a grip. Get a couple and don't drop them. I'd say go to therapy, but this is not one of those people who I think therapy would help, in fact, because they're too busy still trying to blame other people. This is one of those people that when they learn about psychology, they turn around not to benefit themselves in a self-improvement way, but no, they turn around to use it psychologically, abusively against others in the form of psyops. It's psychological warfare. So they weaponize psychology. They don't use it to put their asses in check. Their own asses in check. And they can't dust it off. Get that dirt off. No, you can't. They're too busy crying. There's no recovering from this for them. They're fucked. You can't even make it up. Didn't I just channel all that out? Some of these people made fake reports to CPS. In fact, some of these people kidnapped children because the only way that they could take our inheritances or whatever it was, including our children's cuts of them, was by leveraging them, right? Claiming that we weren't fit parents and so they should be in charge of our money, or we weren't fit people to be in charge of ourselves, so they should be in charge of our money and our children's, even though they're being irresponsible with both our money that they stole and our children's that they shouldn't have access to. Oh, I told you it was I wanted to know what that card was on the flip side. It's backwards, and it's been a group of people doing this. Possibly exes working with toxic family members, but possibly karmic couple in some cases too. I've seen it both ways. In some cases, it's all of the above. In some cases, it was multiple karmic couples working together to do this. You threatening, yep, trying to intimidate people for speaking up into being quiet because they don't want us to succeed. They wanted their facts. Yeah, I was just picking up, they don't like me standing here and speaking up as well. So some of these people also felt like they were entitled to take what they wanted. It's not theirs. I picked this up the other day too. Some of these people, the same way that they felt like they were entitled to us and our money, they felt like they were entitled to our kids. As if those behaviors alone don't disqualify them. As if that mentality and thought process, that perspective on the world or life or just general empathy and fairness or lack thereof in their case doesn't disqualify them from the jump. Which it does, by the way, in case you were confused. I'm not. But anyway, they didn't want us to succeed, or like me, and I'll use me as an example here, to come speak publicly. One, because I help people, but also I've got another E word for you. Ew! You're gross. Yeah. And the reason for this is because let's say I come here and I stand and I speak the truth and I'm calm and I'm brave and I'm articulate, and it's everything that is the opposite of what they've been lying about and trying to character assassinate me as, right? They say I'm stupid, they say I'm this and that, and like just me standing here being myself and speaking or doing whatever I do, it counters what they're saying. People can see that they're lying. So they wanted to just, again, erase people so that they could, they wanted to force the reality of the world to fit their delusion. So like if they deem somebody messed up, or they think that like destroying somebody will make them look better or feel better, then they do it. They'll villainize people in their heads and then try to justify like well, you won't give me, I hear it, you won't give me that money anyway. But this is the thing, is if these were fair and good people, then we would have collaborated with them. In some cases, we may have, until they were stealing from us and hurting us. And then we stopped. And then they felt entitled because they didn't want that narcissistic supply to be cut off, you see. Yeah, you know it all. Do you think that's an insult? You know it all. I know they think it's an insult, but you know what that tells me? They think you're smart, and it offends them. That's what I hear out of that. You know it all. Yeah, your intelligence threatens me, and so I need to try to knock you down a couple pegs. That's what I hear out of that. You know it all. Oh, thanks. So you think I'm smart. You dumb bitch. You cat lady. You think that it's an insult? Freya. Isis. No lies, just love. What do you mean? Yeah. Because they wanted to be seen as a boss and they're not. Bad gambler, told you. You gotta know when to fold them. Know when to fold. Or no, what was it? You can run on for a long time. You gotta know when to fold them, know when to hold them, know when to walk away. You better never count your money. Those are two separate songs, but I hear them both. They celebrated too soon. So anyway, these people who tried to mess with people's children for any reason, yeah, that's a no. Marrying for money. Yeah, see, there it is. Karmic. Oh, he's trying to laugh at me, karmic male. You think you've got it all figured out. You know, we'll see what God has to say about you, sir. You're sweating, huh? Because you'll never catch a break. I see that. Hold on. Let's put this away. No facts. All those overdoses got to your head, didn't they? See, this main person who's been targeting me, he's an addict. He is an addict in many things, and I have empathy for addicts, but I don't have empathy, like we said, for the people who blame their addictions, or their abuse, rather, on addiction, because it definitely doesn't bring out the best in people, but there are plenty of people who they don't abuse people like that, even at their worst of addictions, so we're not going to blame that. I feel it's negative stigma towards people who are struggling with addiction that aren't abusive, and it's not an excuse for the ones that are, regardless of their issues. Because I've met people who are full of love that struggle with addiction, and they were typically too busy abusing themselves to be able to, or have any desire to abuse others, and too much empathy to want to. They were too busy hurting themselves to want to hurt other people. But I've met addicts, unfortunately, that are abusive, and whether, again, they're sober or not, they're abusive. It's just often worse when they're under the influence, because they can't hide it and they have less self-control. Same thing with somebody walking in a straight line when they're drunk. They can't. They can still walk, just not well. He's delusional. He's not a tough guy act. He's delusional. This is somebody who has had so many overdoses at the hospital. I mean, in general, so many overdoses, but including at the hospital. Somebody asks what kind of overdoses. A combination, largely, I believe, if not entirely, mostly heroin. But this person has an addiction to, I hear that's bad, yep. Pills, Percocet, I know that they like oxys. That's what they said, oxy 80s some years ago. I remember them saying that. There's another kind too. I don't know if it was like OxyContin or Oxy. I think it's a similar drug or the same, just maybe different name brands. I don't know. Something like that. But anyway, also crack, cocaine. But I've seen this person relapse on a beer and then go from a beer to a needle full of heroin in less than an hour. Okay, that's that kind of extreme person. Narcissistic sociopath diagnosed. 10922. And this person has been unconscious, like not breathing, for over 10 minutes at a time. Or about 10, I forget, it was over 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes at a time. I think it was over. And the problem with that is you start to get permanent brain damage, 444, after just a few minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes or something. So imagine, I think they were like 30 seconds from not being able to be brought back or something when they finally made it back a couple of times. Hold on, let me check the facts on this. Somebody says there's no way you type that fast. I wasn't even typing fast there. And yes, actually I do. I learned to type in 4th grade, and we didn't learn cursive until 5th. So I learned to type before I learned to sign my name. Thank you. Okay, hold on. No, hold on one sec. I need the right keywords. What are we looking for? Okay, there it is. 9 minutes of delay. Severe and permanent brain damage is likely. After 10 minutes of survival, chances are low. Okay, so this person was dead for over 10 minutes, multiple times. Now, let's see. And this is just with cardiac arrest. This is just with regular, I mean, I guess it doesn't just have to be heart attacks, because technically the cardiac arrest from an overdose is the heart stopping. But if it's heroin, it's also like it slows the breathing and forces the body to shut down. And so it's, yeah, it's a whole thing. But cardiac arrest, so for whatever reason, the cause being a heart attack or overdose, the heart stops, and then the brain is damaged due to lack of oxygen. Symptoms are seen when a person is revived, if they're able to be revived. And this can show where the problems come from that arise when blood flow does begin to arrive in tissue that is damaged. So okay, person becomes unconscious quickly during cardiac arrest. Usually happens within 20 seconds after the heart stops beating. Without oxygen and sugars it needs to function, the brain is unable to deliver the electrical signals needed to maintain breathing and organ function. This leads to hypoxia, which refers to a partial lack of oxygen. Oh no, this is hypoxic anoxic. Okay. Hypoxic anoxic injury. So hypoxia refers to a partial lack of oxygen, while anoxia means total lack of oxygen. In general, the more complete the oxygen loss, the more severe the harm to the brain. So in other words, the longer that you're out, the worse the damage is. And then if you're able to make it back, sometimes you don't recover from that. If CPR is delayed more than 3 minutes, mind you, this person was out without any kind of intervention like that for over 10. Global cerebral ischemia. I may be mispronouncing that last word. Is the lack of blood flow to the entire brain, which can lead to brain injury that gets progressively worse. By 9 minutes of delay, severe and permanent brain damage is likely, and after 10 minutes, the chances of survival are low. Even if a person is resuscitated, 8 out of every 10 will be in a coma and sustain some level of brain damage. Simply put, the longer the brain is deprived of oxygen, the worse the damage will be. So imagine that somebody overdoses on heroin and is unconscious for over 10 minutes at a time, multiple separate times, even though it only takes 3 minutes for you to start developing permanent brain damage. This is the person who's been chasing after me for the last decade and recruited all these different people to do it. His brain is mush. Does that make more sense to you now? On top of the fact that he was already a diagnosed sociopath in 2014. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Not good choices, mush brain. I would say. And it's not speculative. The hospital has records of this, and so does the police department, because he was revived at the hospital many times, and so they had to inform the police. This is a mandated police report state. They could not arrest him, but they did have to report it. He can't even get a prescription from a dentist anymore, because if they go to run his social security or his information, because it's a mandated police report state, he's flagged as a narcotic abuser now. I know this because when he went to get dental work after rotting his teeth out with a bunch of crack cocaine, according to him, he was mad because they wouldn't give him Vicodin or Percocet or anything. He could only get 1,000 milligram ibuprofen prescribed. Yeah, Divine Masculine says, so he was already fucked up to begin with. Yeah, I'm sure this didn't make it better. Repeatedly. Also, there's that. Delusional, like straight delusional. And this is somebody who thinks that they can take like little clips out of what I'm saying here to try to twist it out of context to use against me, but it's true though. Nothing I'm saying can't be verified. Like the cards that came out earlier said, no facts. They don't have facts. I do. And the facts back up what I'm saying. I'm just speaking, I'm just relaying to you what is on record. There's evidence of what I'm saying. This is somebody who's lying and saying, no, it's not. I never did that. That's not true. When there is absolutely public record of the fact that they did. 11722. Thank you very much. But that's what a delusional narcissistic person would do, isn't it? No, I didn't do that. When there's even video evidence of the fact that they did. I wasn't in that place doing this thing at that time when they've been caught on camera doing so. And I hear them, oh, it's AI, except it's not. This is somebody who probably tries to use AI against people, right? Deep fakes or steals people's. In fact, I know this person in particular did that to me. I've got evidence of that. Stole my name and photo and made fake accounts, sent themselves nasty messages as if they were me. But I had to contact the website and explain to them what was happening to get them to shut the account down. And I still have evidence of that. What this person did was go to my YouTube and take some of my videos here. And they made this fake account on a website. And then they embedded one of my videos into it. Now, at first I wasn't sure. I'm like, is this one of those mirror accounts where they picked up, it's like it's just sharing my content? Why is it only one video that's here? Also, I'm very confused as to why there's a Christian chat network website when I've never had any interest in dating websites, nor will I. Never had an app, nope. Don't recommend it. Not a good energy. But I was very confused as to why a dream prophecy video had been posted on a Christian chat network dating website. I found that they don't like stuff like that, you know? I was very confused. So this Karmic wasn't even good at pretending, but all right. Or they thought that they knew me better than they thought that they did, or they thought that other people would believe that, it was so weird. I don't even know. But they made this account with my name and my photo on it, Seraph Gem, and my photo on it, and then they embedded that dream prophecy video And so when you clicked on the video, it would bring you to my account here on YouTube. So it looked like it was me, if you didn't know better, but I didn't make that account. Somebody said, how did you know about it? Because after they made the fake accounts and did that, they took screenshots of the crimes that they were committing, claiming to be me, and took that shit to a judge and tried to tell on me for what they were doing to me, as if it would be taken for face value. And it was at first. But I had to contact the website to get them to take it down. I didn't even know it was up until they talked about it in court. They dragged me to court and then said, she did A, B, and C, and it's this website and that website. I had no idea what they were talking about, so I Googled what they were talking about, and that popped up. I'm like, oh, you psycho. You did too much. Now you have evidence of that, Divine Masculine says. Yes, sir, I do. Plethora. Stealing your ideas and pretending they invented them, or making fake accounts and embedding my videos. Yeah, they're evil though. These people are nasty. It's just little demon. They're so weak. They don't even realize they're just Satan's bitches. You're being used by the devil. The devil's fucking you up the ass and you don't even realize it. 122. Bend over, bitch. 121.22. That's what I just heard. So take what you will from that. Yeah. Well, this is too bad for you. This is why you should not be doing that, because it's not ever going to work for you. Yeah, that's what you get for playing with little sex demons. Incubus, succubus demons. They're raping you now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know. Big mad, so sad. Boo-hoo, wow, wow. But bitch. Trying to block your money flow, spying on your family. Or this is somebody like toxic, somebody on the outside of your family, ex, fake family that you cut off, something like that. Old friends that were not friendly. Mm-hmm. Gaggles and groups of them. But we see you. They don't want people to know about their addictions or the fact that they're obsessed with us. But we do. Oh yeah, and their character assassination didn't work either, like I said. You will continue to thrive on the haters. Don't worry about it. They can't stand that you've got it made. You mean because we made it like that by not choosing to be like you? Yeah, how's that backfire taste? A bit like my toes in your teeth, eh? Purple socks today. Purple and gray. $123.22. Anyway, I need to go hang out with myself for a little bit because these people suck and the energy's not very great. I need to go lift it up again. Divine Masculine says recharge. Yep. There's a karmic that's crying now. Anything else? Wisdom, discipline, organized, conservative. It's a light worker energy. I mentioned that earlier. Karmics are having restrictions. They're facing limitations, hardships for being overbearing and controlling. Emphasis on Aquarius and Capricorn energy. Also Cancerian. On the upright, you have For the light workers, nurturing, sympathy, ambition, sentimental, receptive rather, generous, loyal, intuitive, family oriented, and giving. And on the dark side for these karmics, you've got emotional, clinging, they don't want to let people go, toxically, insecure, and they're contradictory. So they're acting so hateful and nasty, but they don't want to let us go because they're obsessed. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. High Priestess and Chariot. So we're moving forward regardless and still know what they're doing. Monday. Moonstone. Pearl. Tiger. Brave, passionate, frank. I said that earlier. Something about braveness, divine feminine, being brave or strong or something. The light workers in general, brave, passionate, frank, honest. But the karmic people, they're aggressive, rebellious, and argumentative. No, they feel like when we stand up against their toxicity that we're being argumentative. They think we're aggressive when we have to sternly defend ourselves against their aggression or their covert abuse, because even the passive aggressiveness, guys, that's still what it is. Passive or not. It's about intent. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's the fact that you think that minimizing the problem will make it less of a problem. But it's not about the problem for me. It's about the principle. It's about the fact that you were okay with creating a problem and you were okay with trying to pretend like it wasn't. Yeah, it's a bigger issue than the problem. You're the problem. But it's about the principle. Principle will get you cut off real fast. The art of non-attachment. Prideful. I hear boastful they are. Yep. Colors are green, blue, black, brown, yellow. Dragon, horse, rooster, dog, pig. Rat, rabbit, sheep. Element is wood. There are also energies of fire here, flourishing in fire energies, and the destructive earth energies. There's something about the alchemical shift, that light that didn't want to turn off earlier. So that fire energy, it's the illumination of God. Also, Zadkiel and the amethyst, violet, purple flame. But these earth signs being very destructive, or the earth energy, people trying to destroy people's home life, environments, or money. Money's an earth energy too. Or feeling stable in your family, that's also earth energy. These people were very disruptive. But for the light workers, there's hidden potential, emphasis on the feminine, like rebirth of the feminine too, and also hidden knowledge being uncovered for the femmes. Venus, love, relationships, beauty, harmony, sensuality, yep, and sexuality. And look what I said earlier, Mars and Venus, didn't I? Except for he's in reverse, he's toxic, and it's like a karmic. She's done dealing with that. And karmic says, oh, Lilith. Yeah, it's about the astrology, not the person. Though, in that case. And that's the thing. These people are trying to say that all the same people who are saying, oh, divine feminine's like Lilith because she won't submit to... You're not divine masculine, though. You see, she's willing to work with divine masculine, but you're not him. You're trying to villainize her as Lilith, but bitch, you're a karmic. She's Lilith because she won't submit to divine feminine, divine masculine. She is oppositional. She went on her own path, and that's why Adam had to end up with Eve, because Lilith didn't want to be a good wife. You're not a good husband. Shut your mouth. You rotten fly trap. Close that shit. You're gonna let bugs in there. Anyway, not sorry to burst that delusional bubble. Eve would have left your ass too. Karmic. God would not have permitted that, and didn't. Isn't it funny? It's always the toxic ones who want to say, oh, women should be obedient to their wife. You forgot the other half of that one. It says that a woman is only to be obedient to a good husband, and a good husband would never treat her that way or think that way towards her. He would seek to nurture and love and protect her. Why? Because they're a team. You forget the part about how, yes, the story goes that Eve is made out of the rib of Adam, but what does your rib cage do? Protects your organs and your heart, okay? But the thing about that is these people have been mistreating Eve in that reference. So they want her to be obedient, right? But you see, Eve, the rib is safely tucked up underneath his arm. Like the wings of his love are wrapped around her, protecting her. But that's not what these people did. They tried to throw her in a dungeon cave, a cage, a prison, a kennel. But they expected her to be, what, loyal? I saw a video about this. It was an animal, maybe a dog, I think, the other day, who was said to be aggressive, but the only thing this dog had ever experienced was people being nasty to it. And the second it was adopted by a loving family, this whole dog's personality, this whole animal's personality changed. Because they went from having to constantly protect themselves from people to realizing that there were good people in the world. You may not judge people, karmics. These are the same people who try to label others. What was it? There's a term, possibly children even. There is a, see, we need loyal people around us, not you. Yeah, we need loyal dogs around us, not dirty pigs, karmics. Thanks. Not my circus, not my monkeys. 132:22. So yes, Eve made out of the rib of Adam, but the rib protects the rib cage, that protects the heart. The rib protects the organs, rather. And so when they properly are nurturing divine feminine, loving her, keeping her safe, instead of putting her in a position where she needs to defend herself, she can give that love back to them and not only keep his heart safe, but make him feel good. But it's a team situation. It's not about dominance. You forgot the other half of that one. Talk to me, I talk back. I've been seeing this video, hold on. When someone says something to my non-confrontational husband. Right. So there's that. Okay, so these karmics had wild nature, aggressive, like barbaric, and evil intentions. Indulgent, they were materialistic and distracted, physical attraction. It was all about the externals for them. Also, Taurus and Libra are here. My daughter's a Libra. The person who's been terrorizing me is a Taurus. The person who's been terrorizing her is a Taurus. One of them. The other was a Cancer. And they both were sexual deviants towards her. Individually and together. I just got a flash of Karla Homolka. Unfortunately, if you know, you know. This is named Paul something and Karla Homolka. Yep. Yep. I mean, they even attacked her own sister. Okay? Like, she helped her boyfriend attack her younger sister. These people are perverted. It's just nasty. Anything else? There was one more thing you wanted me to pull up, right? Maybe I should wait to do that. If that's the case, I'll put it in the description box. But what I will do is that video that I just showed you. Copy link. It is one that I had posted years ago. So I'll link it in the description box. It's not up. It's unlisted, but it's here. Okay, I need to adjust the energy a little bit. Divine Masculine's laughing. Well. I think there was another little bit on that Adam and Eve reference, or I hear that quote. Yeah, there it is. See? Yes, but this Divine Masculine, he's so turned off and repelled by the thought of like possessing her or controlling her. He doesn't like that, and I really appreciate that. That's what makes him a Divine Masculine. He says we are a team. So the two quotes I'm getting for that, this was kind of the other end of this. So a little bit more expansion on it. It's a quote that says, I like that good morning baby kind of relationship. No games, great communication, lots of kissing, cuddling, flirting, and being goofy. That kind of love that makes you want to run 100 miles, read books, clean up your bad habits. And then Divine Feminine says, you get the best version of me when I feel safe and submissive around you. I am soft and submissive when I trust you, if I trust you. If I'm not soft or submissive with you, I don't trust you. My femininity flourishes in safe and healthy environments. I protect that version of me because I have spent so much time healing. I hear cultivating also and preserving that version of me. And so this goes back into the bit where they tried to bully us out of who the healed versions of us were that we were being or becoming. They tried to knock us down, and then I'm getting another download. And then didn't want us to get back up. And so some of these people, let's say that you went through a bunch of childhood trauma and you became aware of this and you started to heal and you started to become the full version of yourself, maybe more confident, and they felt like, well, I knew you back then, or I knew you growing up, or that's not who you really are because that's not who you used to be. And so they try to, what they think is knock people down a few pegs, and that's not what it is. what they're doing is trying to re-traumatize people because they were more comfortable with us in a space of trauma, especially if they were the ones inflicting it. Also because our healing makes them maybe reflect on the fact that they're not. Because look, healed people don't go around doing what they're doing or thinking that way or wanting to hurt people because they do. But that's what they did. So your healing, your level of healing, your state of healing, mine, insulted them because it brought to their attention that they lacked it. And they took your healing, which had nothing to do with them, as a personal insult. Like, well, you think you're better than me? I'm like, no, I just know that this environment's not good for me. And frankly, look, it's not good for you either, whether you want to admit that or not. And so they took our healing as a personal insult because they refused to get any help for themselves. No. No. Oh, I know who you used to be. You mean you know who people were, you think you know who people were as children before they even really became aware of who they were themselves, let alone developed or were able to grow into that outside of a space of trauma at that? No. No. I'm gonna knock you down. You're too confident. I know who you used to be. What are you talking about? You're still the same nasty person who doesn't like people's healing and wants to hurt people because of the same reason. Because you're not healed yourself. 141:22. It's delusional. I know who you used to be. People evolve. You didn't. But normal people, the rest of us, yeah. We outgrew you. I'm going to drop the mic on that. Please remember to pray. Do no harm, take no crap. And I'll be back later with some other stuff. Some Reiki and some love. Blessings. Namaste. Toodles.